You know, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro. We hear you.
Okay.
Yo,
No, man, he
funny
count
enough,
that money too, Rose. He count up to 20.
Yeah, man, that's
count
what I'm
that money
talking about.
first.
Hey, man, listen, man, the black men ain't make capitalism, but we got to understand it. You know what I mean? Like,
Ooh,
we got to understand it, man.
that.
Black, we ain't creative, we got to
man.
understand it, and
Damn.
it comes in a shape, form, and fashion at a very young age. You got to understand like what makes money grow, and what's a bad investment in dealing with people who ain't about it, and dealing with people who could help you get a little closer to the bag. So Garvey understands all of that.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Yeah, I can't.
that.
I like that. That's a T-shirt, man. We ain't make capitalism, but we gotta understand it. Yeah.
That's
Words of wisdom right there.
true, man. Like, yo,
Right,
you gotta think about it. Like breaking down what Rose said. I mean, yo, just to introduce, man, we got Rose, Brooklyn's finest, Brownsville's finest. Brownsville showed out over Thanksgiving weekend. We're gonna talk about that. Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr., two favorite uncles fighting over the turkey over the weekend. But we're gonna talk about
mashed potatoes and shit. Potato salad.
And then also introducing AD. Decatur's always greater. And we got his sidekick, the one and only Garvey. He's gonna be doing some ad libs on the background. We're not gonna cut
love that. We need that.
because if we get a check for this, he gonna get a check for this episode.
He gonna get a check. I told you he can count that money, man. He
counting them credits.
You know what I'm saying? He
counting them credits, boy. My boy Garvey on them credits, boy.
But yo, man, I like what you said, Rose. Working in advertising, I realized that the everyday person, and there's no shade to anybody, but the everyday person or someone who works like a city job or something, a lot of people don't grasp the thought process of like how money moves or how to move money. Like I look at one of our brothers, Thousand, always says like he buys clothes based off of like a media equation. Like is the price of the garment worth? Is he gonna wear it enough where the price of the garment is gonna be worth the amount of money he's gonna spend? And like same thing with me. When I look at stuff that I'm gonna do, as a producer, I kind of in my head I kind of triple bid it. I'm like, all right, well, if one place got it for this price, or if I'm dealing with a vendor or something, I'm like, all right, if you're gonna do it for this price, let me go here, or double bid it and be like, all right, can you, I start negotiating, I start getting in my production bag. And I'm sure AD gets in his creative bag when he's doing something in his day to day. I'm sure you get in your media bag. But yeah, man, that's an interesting point.
Yeah, man, we have the we were blessed to be in positions to absorb specific skill sets that people wouldn't on a day-to-day basis would not teach you. So we had to go out there and go learn that. And people don't really understand it. I mean, but hey, man, like we got a wealth of knowledge. Like we got millions of dollars worth of knowledge, between planning and producing and creating, that like people around us that's not of that world would never even know. So I mean, I go through that all the time. And sometimes I'm on my business on it because it's just not my place and I'm not qualified enough to talk on the situation. And sometimes, I give a little 1-2. I drop some gems, but our shit should be sold though, bro. Like the things that we know, man, they gotta buy that. So
They do. I mean, you think about like what we do really, and whether you talking about media, creative, strat, production, account services. I mean, bro, all of that is basically in the name of telling stories, and that's the biggest thing that human beings like. We like stories. I think we're the only species on the planet that actually requires stories to validate our existence.
that is a fact. I was saying the same thing the other day.
Yeah,
and you talking to the other side, man. When you talking to them people, man, sometimes you got to bring a story, and sometimes it's a sad story, but you got to bring a story so people, because
you got to guilt motherfuckers.
You got to guilt them, and you got to establish credibility. Number one,
Yeah.
establish that credibility, and then you tell a story that's relatable, and then you tell a story that's like, you know what, like this story is the reason why you got to pay me. Because
Nah, go ahead.
Garvey even say amen to that. I heard Garvey. He said amen. I heard it.
No,
well, you're right though, right? I mean, look, Bill, and look, I know a lot of things has happened since we obviously have, got a chance to chop it up here on the pod, right? But at the end of the day, it's kind of like the person who wins is the one who tells the best story at the time. Obviously, like the President-elect Joe Biden. I guess he told a much more better story at the time than 45. Or here's the thing, maybe this is what people just buying at the time, right? So maybe 45 can tell a better story, but they ain't buying that story right now. You know what I'm saying?
Or maybe 45's story, the original story he came with, he never put it together where the facts could back up against the story. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you tell a story, then people gonna fact check you, and they're gonna say, "Wait, you supposed to be building this wall? This wall ain't never come up yet. Where the wall?"
But
there's all these other things too.
That's the funny thing. I don't think he ever had to build the wall. It was really about, when you guys talk about stories and feeling, like to me, it's that feeling, it's that emotion. Like I feel like he could have. I mean, I'm not advocating for 45, but I'm saying I feel like he could have did a term, and people wouldn't have gave a fuck if that wall was ever built. But
keep in mind, his story hasn't ended.
Oh no,
you think
it has not.
But
so
I guess what I'm saying though, real quick though, I guess what I'm saying is like the things that he says, right? Like, and I understand people who like 45. I understand where they're coming from, and I understand people who don't like 45. I come from a balanced situation in the conversation. But I'm saying the things that he says, right? So we're talking about COVID-19, and when you say that it's a hoax and we shouldn't worry about it, but you got over 200,000 people that die in America,
and
that's not no hoax, and you get it yourself, and you diss the other person on the other side, you diss the op and say, yo, you wear the biggest mask, and the mask ain't, you a joke, you a clown, and then you get it, right? What are we talking about? Now you just putting yourself in a situation where you talking and you sound like you don't know what you're talking about.
So real quick, before we dive too deep into that. So when I originally put this list of topics together, Biden had what it was determined by, I want to say by New York Times, CNN, yada yada, that Biden won the election. This was weeks ago. I'm just giving a quick recap. Obvious, Trump put in a couple lawsuits, a couple places did recounts. I believe the count is finito with all of the states. I might be wrong. But I believe AP, Associated Press, announced, yes, Joe Biden has one, we did a recount in the states, yada, yada. So fast forward to where we are now. I can't remember. I tried to look it up, but I didn't even see if Trump really conceded or if he really said, all right, Joe Biden won, blah, 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 we're going to hand it off. I feel like he's still fighting a little bit tooth and nail. But, you guys talk about stories, and I think it's interesting. It's just like, I think you're right, Rose, where it's like, I think it really wasn't that Biden, or we can call him 46. 46 didn't tell a better story, but I think 45 story just didn't have enough facts to back it up.
Yeah, it didn't pan out. It did not pan out, bro.
He still got a lot of votes. It's not like it was a landslide. It was really close.
But that's the American story, right? It's a story of winners and losers. Anybody can win, anybody can lose.
Yep.
It's all about guns and butter. You know what I'm saying? You saying?
Oh man.
But it's crazy. Funny enough, I told this joke in the chat, but listeners might be able to empathize. But I was in a lot of meetings, even the days leading up to not leading up to the election, after the election. And I was in so many meetings, and I was just like, yo, I cannot know this many Democrats in my life. Why is it that every time the election gets brought up, everyone's like, oh man, like, we got to bring it home for the Dems. I'm like, yo, all y'all are Democrats. And
right.
And y'all know advertising. We in a ton of meetings, a ton of different personalities, people from all over the place. It's just, it's It's just interesting.
Yeah, well, I
Hey,
think
dude.
that's no. Go ahead, AD.
No, you go ahead, bro. Go ahead, Rose.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I think that's like, people playing possum, bro. Like, no one. Here's the thing: no one wants to feel like an outsider, right? So listen. I tell you every time, man. Like, y'all know where I'm from. I'm from Brownsville. I'm from a different world, bro. But when I go up there and I gotta talk to them folks, they don't know that. Like, they don't understand that. So I gotta talk at the language. I gotta talk, in a specific a language that they understand, and I gotta share stories that they understand. So no one want to be misunderstood, and no one wants to feel like or publicly look like they're on the wrong side of history. So that's what that's about. Like, yo,
Exactly.
America is all about lies, man. People lie to your face all the time, man. You know what I'm saying? And this even goes even further. I remember when
That's
this
funny.
guy. It's funny. The funniest shit is when Biden, when they announced that he won, and it was Jubilee, and all these people going crazy in the streets, and they made that, what's the shirt? Goodbye, Don, or something like that, or some crazy shit. But it's all these people, and they chant, they cheering, and they
People were
chanting.
wilding. I remember that day in Brooklyn. People were wilding.
It was crazy, right? And for me, it's like, yo, is this shit real? Like, because here's the thing, like, people, they just want to follow a wave and they want to follow a trend. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't know what they believe in, bro. They don't know what they believe in.
I'll say this, maybe things will change once he gets inaugurated. But one thing I have seen is that Black people showed out and voted in massive numbers. And I will say I'm not proud of the past, but this is the first time I voted. And I definitely voted for Joe Biden because I was like, yo, this is a crazy time. You never know what can happen. 2020 has a crazy ass year. But one last point real quick before you jump in that. I was just gonna say I haven't seen, and correct me if I'm wrong, send it to the podcast, email us. I haven't seen a Black agenda or anything yet that has been spoken to Black people specifically. Not to say that any other group shouldn't get it, but I'm just saying, like, I think this is something that people, I mean, we're not a political podcast, so, and keep diving into it. But one thing I haven't seen in terms of like policies or things that they're trying to do is stuff specifically like, all right, we're going to specifically help disenfranchise Black people. So I just want to say that.
Look, bro, I mean, at the end of the day, man, Rose got a good point, man. Unfortunately, the American experience have been pretty much lies from day one. They lied about the forefathers being heroic when they were slave owners. They lied about, like, motherfuckers doing these night rides and shit with Paul Revere. They lied about Abe Lincoln really caring about Black people, when at the end of the day, he was just trying. He used
the Union.
He used slavery, got rid of the slaves to break up the Confederacy, because that's their main cash cow. That's the first thing you do in act of war. You get rid of people's money, right? And we was the money makers in the South. So at the end of the day, man, it has been a bunch of lies wrapped up in history. But that's neither here nor there, right? At the end, the reality of it is, I work in advertising and tech, and I would tell you there are a ton of Trump lovers in tech. So while there may be some quasi-liberals in the whole advertising world, the world that we all come from, but in this tech world, man, because it's so latent with like power and money out there, a lot of those guys are straight up and down, not even like closeted Trump lovers. They outright in your face Trump lovers. They may not put on a MAGA hat, or they may not, put on some type of Confederate flag or wave the Trump Pence sign, but they 100% voted for him because of money and power, and inherent privilege. And for me, all that shit the same. Whether you're talking about like people voting for Biden or people voting for Trump, real talk, man, in the day, we as Black people still got to bear the grunt of whoever's in that office, and we got to like deal with the policies coming out of that shit, and especially in this ad game.
I'm speaking out of turn, but I think most educated Black people don't give a fuck because they know like what we got.
Most Black people in general don't give a fuck.
I mean,
we vote, but here's the thing: we always vote for the soul of this country. That's always been the case for us, right? So
like
whoever, we always voted for the soul. And you're gonna have some people that vote for, the wrong side of history. I know people personally who are Black and like Trump. And a lot of people are like, that's an oxymoron, but not really. I know some cats personally like that shit. But like I say, at the end of the day, man, whoever's in that office, we gotta hold them accountable, and we gotta always put for our best initiatives and agendas and shit. Like this black contract that you talked about just now. I mean, let's be real. The Ice Cube and any of those guys actually go and sit down with like National Urban League, NAACP, and not even just them, like Tamika Mallory and any of these other people who's probably been doing the work. I don't know.
Facts. And one quick thing though.
Oh, go ahead.
One quick thing though is like, I mean, and we could be honest because this is Abros and this is what we do, right? But like,
it's our part. We're not getting paid for this shit. We do what we want.
But we could also talk about like how Trump, he talks a lot and he represents like from a black perspective. It's almost like most black people like myself. I would rather a person tell me you don't like me and I could deal with you accordingly, right? That's what Trump represents, right? And then there's the other side of it. And what I was trying to build on a little bit earlier is like, the racism, the white supremacy, like America prefers that to be done quietly, right? So I'm saying the things that Joe Biden might have done on paper and writing, signing off on certain documents might have been worse than anything Trump has done, right? That's a reality. But, the reason why people in Jubilee and they're happy is because that it is not as overt as Trump. See, it's like Trump is like that embarrassment. It's like, yo, this motherfucker, he's like that cousin that he just come out and he says what he's on his mind and he talks reckless and crazy. But meanwhile, the person like, oh no, that's my cousin. Like, just stop, just relax. This is my cousin and don't worry about it. And I'm a great guy, we're a great family. And I'm saying the things that Biden might have exemplified in the past, it's a little bit of that too. So like, America it's a beautiful mess. Most Def said America is a beautiful mess. And I agree with that, man. Like at the end of the day, it don't matter like what side, like everyone has an agenda. You just got to see who you align with. And I'm not mad at anyone who likes Trump and I'm not mad at anyone who likes Biden, but what's more important is like, what? Get this money, get this paper, take care of your family, stay out these way. And I've been saying that forever, and I'll continue to say that.
You're on record.
Oh my God,
like the
that's
first
funny.
saying that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's a T-shirt right there. America, it's a beautiful mess. I guess we'll see what happens in 4 years. Maybe people will turn up and be like, all right, fuck you. You ain't give us nothing. We gonna see what.
I guess the question is, right, before we move on, like, it's amazing though, like soon as Biden won, it's like all the media outlets just turn off the privilege that a president normally would have, which is like constant cover and like even like First Amendment kind of protection. Even Twitter took away 45's he got, like a president has a certain right when it comes to like, I guess, publicly speaking. Like they can just say shit and they don't necessarily have to, I wouldn't say fact check it, but they can report on it, right? And Twitter took away his privilege where, whatever he said can be fact checked now, right? Like the day after the election, So I find it amazing that, 45 started disappearing from the news rotation almost instantly.
Well, I think it's funny because, just to wrap it up, I think what happened is when Joe Biden was announced as like more than likely to win the president-elect, to me, it resembled like when you go to the movies or when you watch a horror film or when you watch 12 Years a Slave, but if you watch a horror film or you watch some hood film and you see people getting killed, it's like you can easily turn it off and move on and go back to your regular life. And I feel like Biden being elected and winning is like people turning off the real America, which was when Trump was president or 45 was president. And it's like, all right, we can go back to all the shit we used to do. And it's
I think what's going to happen, bro, soon as I told this, right? So I feel like soon as Biden get in office, what we've been calling black solidarity is going to disappear. Everybody's going to go back to being blind and shit again.
I told everybody at my old gig, get a job, get a check before the election or before he takes office, because after that, it's going to move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about your black pain. Go get that shit now. So hopefully they listen and get that. And I'm telling all the listeners, go get that check. You got until Inauguration Day.
Yeah, get that money.
But yo, so move on to something something kind of political. COVID-19 still real. I was reading that 46 put together a nice little task force, not little, well 13 man, well 13 person, I don't know if it's all men, but 13-person team to kind of tackle COVID-19. And I had a question for you guys. I've been hearing that they got a vaccine. Are you guys
Multiple vaccines?
There are multiple vaccines in play right now. Are you guys willing to take one?
I'll jump out.
Not the first round, but actually go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say. So it's so crazy that you said that because like I think I speak for a lot of people where we're like, yo, honestly, that first round should probably go to those individuals who are more so like who needs it the most.
Well, yo,
and
yo, Rose, let me cut you off real quick. I don't know if you heard this, but from what I heard,
to first responders.
From what I heard from the Daily is that it's gonna go to doctors and first responders first. Then the next round of vaccines are gonna go to people who are in homes or people who are own homes and need like home care and like in an age range of like in danger. Then the third round would be older people who could get sick and the third round would be for essential workers. And then I think the fourth round would be older folks. One of those that might be interchangeable. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I think it's everything you just said reverse. It's the first responders first because they dealing with everybody. Then like the preconditioned elderly people, and then people in those nursing homes. So it's everything you're saying is just in a reverse.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful part about all of that is like,
and then
I sound crazy
after that.
Yeah, I sound crazy, but like I don't work on any of those fields, so I kind of like will let them do their thing and see what happens and what works. I'm an admin.
We'll have herd immunity by the time it gets to like our kind of, I guess, not age range, but young, not really. It's like we can work from home, all that other good stuff. I'm not gonna say we don't need it, but technically there'll be.
You're gonna need it. Just look, man.
Yeah.
That vaccine is gonna become the new flu vaccine because this pandemic is gonna be endemic, which means it's gonna be around. I mean, most average colds are technically made up of this coronavirus, right? And this is a different strand of such said coronavirus. So it's just a new thing we got to deal with, man. As a species, I still often say, based off our last discussion, because at the end of the day, regardless of who's getting that vaccine, they're gonna have to advertise it. They're gonna have to advertise who's gonna get it, and who's gonna get the media dollars.
And that's where we step in. Pfizer, all these. Holla at your boy, man. I think I might jump to Pfizer. I think I might jump to a pharma. I might do a pharma account. No.
I can't do pharma. I'm cool on
pharma
that.
Pharma is terrible. Money. They do. They terrible. Yeah, but to AD's point, like I really do, I align with that, and that's where it's gonna go, and like that's the trajectory, right? Like that's where.
But here's the fun thing: you work at traditional ad. You guys could do what they call more like a white label account. You don't even have to do a straight up and down pharma account. It can be for industry or like what they call unbranded account, and that can be completely like the same rules as any ad agency can pursue.
Yeah, you know what, AD, you absolutely right. Like, I don't know, man. Like I just feel like in the space we're at, like it's weird, but it's still opportunity, right? And like what's so crazy? I feel like on a couple pods ago, when we was talking about all of this stuff, and I was like, yo, at the end of the day, people are looking at this time right now as opportunity, and I'm not like promoting scams, but whether if it's in the ad game, tech game, or whatever, like this is opportunity for everybody. And now it's like, okay, like what is the strategy and how do we continue to push this capitalism shit? Because we don't got a choice. This is where we are. So we got to understand it. Again, I'll say like, the black man didn't make capitalism, but we got to understand it. And we have to understand what is happening and how do we push it forward.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. All right.
Yeah, that's real.
We'll wrap it up. All right, yo, Rose, sign us out on this one.
Yo, Easy Rose, Abros, Representative Abros, General Abros, everything. As you all know, no self-talk when it comes to telling the truth.
Yes, sir. I like the Abros General. All right, peace.